The Middle East is at war, global trade is shaking, economic crisis waving at us behind the corner, and here we are, putting our positive face and going to work.
I'm also seeing some individuals in leadership roles that are creating extra chaos and extra panic for people unnecessarily.
2 or 3 qualities that we need to start working on today, being able to stabilize yourself in the next crisis.
Solutions to big issues, big problems, can come from that pause.
You wake up and check first, are you there able to take the right decisions?
Yeah.
When it's noisy, at least you need to keep quiet.
It doesn't stop what's going outside. It doesn't change what's happening on the outside, right? But it changes how you're reacting to it.
AI is another threat.
If you misuse it, it actually makes you more dumb.
Is there an opportunity in crisis, really, if it's true or no?
That you are so much stronger than you know. You have the answers within you. You will know what to do.
Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of Mastervision Podcast. The Middle East is at war, global trade is shaking, economic crises are waving at us behind the corner, and here we are, business leaders, entrepreneurs, startup founders, waking up every morning, putting our positive face and going to work. Going to work to lead our people to this future. The future that sometimes we are not even sure about. But as they say, there is always an opportunity with a crisis. I want to have a conversation today, an honest conversation about that opportunity. Is it really true? Is that opportunity for everyone? And for us, business leaders, what do we need to have then to catch that opportunity? I wanted to have an honest, real conversation, and I needed a guest who is really good with technology, with people, but also with a true human being. So I've invited my previous guest, Shereen Qutob, to join me today. Shereen is a leadership and cultural strategist. She's the woman responsible for transforming how some of the biggest organizations in the region think about their people. Shereen, welcome back.
Thank you, Nina. I'm so excited to be here. We're doing it again.
Yes, our last podcast, bringing humanity back to workplace,
yes,
was super successful, and I loved it.
I loved it too, and when I look back and think, so much has changed since then. So much.
So much. We were worried that time about AI, I think, humanity, that the corporate world becoming a little bit unhuman, right? And here we are back to a completely new world.
Back to a completely new world, and I think it's even more important. This conversation is even more critical right now.
How do you feel?
How do I feel? Honestly, on one hand, yes, there's a lot going on in the world out there. But inside, since our last conversation, when I say a lot has changed, personally for me, a lot has changed. So I know on the outside, the hair is shorter, so that's one change.
That's a great change.
Thank you.
You looked always great, now is even better. But that's a really good change.
But it's not just about the physical change.
Yeah.
I feel like a shift happened in me because I became a lot more centered in my inner self. So I created this inner stability, let's say, so that whatever is happening out there, and some of it is loud, that I can always come back inside.
So you feel, how would you define it? Centered. Stronger?
Yeah, centered. And I notice when I go off center. And now I have clear tools that help me come back to my center.
And in terms of a career, what was the shift?
So at that time, I was in between work. I've gone back into corporate. So so somehow...
You so much didn't want to go back.
The corporate world keeps calling. So I have gone back into corporate in a learning and development role, redefining what learning means at work, especially now with all the technology and changes. And so that's currently where I am today.
And you're happy?
I am, I'm happy and looking forward to what's next.
Well, this is perfect for us. So corporate world is exactly the topic I'd like to discuss today. Corporate world, corporate leaders, us as business leaders. What do we do? Look, to start today, my morning, I was super positive. Woke up at 6 o'clock before I took my phone into my hand. Felt like the world is going better, is getting better, and then here you go, some news, which we're not a news channel, but we can figure it out. It just started again worrying me, right? But I knew I need to go, I need to record, I need to go for my business meeting and put that positive face. And I'm quite an optimist usually, and go for it. And meet other leaders that probably also put their positive faces in the morning and maybe pretend or force ourselves that nothing has changed really and we're going forward. Is that what you feel with leaders that you meet?
I would say so. There are some leaders I see that genuinely have that inner strength, and it's like they're stabilizing the ship for everyone, right? So they, like when you meet them, they're very grounded, they're very solid in who they are, and just their presence is very calming. So even in a crisis, so I'm seeing some of that.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, I'm also seeing some individuals in leadership roles that are creating extra chaos and extra panic for people unnecessarily. So it's a spectrum, right? So I think that's where it becomes even more critical, especially for people in leadership roles. It's not about pretending. It's about, and I think we touched on this in our last episode on, you put your oxygen mask on first before you save someone, right?
Yeah.
And so as a leader, if you're not tending to yourself, your mental health, your habits, if you're not taking some quiet time in the morning, maybe to reflect on your day, how am I going to approach the challenges today? It becomes easier to spill over your anxiety, let's say, to others. So I think I've been noticing different approaches to it. Yeah.
Is there something maybe you've noticed across different leaders and those types, that something that in common that they say, maybe they wouldn't go publicly say that, but something that connects all of them?
You mean the ones that are
both, or maybe it's a different group of this saying that, group of that, but something that publicly they wouldn't probably say it.
That they have moments that they're afraid. So I from conversations I've had with some people, they don't publicly tell people that they get these human moments, I think, because we put leaders on a pedestal as well. And we assume that they're not, human. So they operate in these supernatural ways, right? And, I think that just the humility and the humbleness of, sometimes, these thoughts come in and we're human. And I think with the leaders that I've seen that are really, really stable and solid in how they operate, they just find a way to regroup, to bring themselves back again to that center. Someone described it to me as being like the Zen monk in the eye of the storm. So yes, there's a storm going around you, but how do you continue to be that, not that you're constantly meditating or, but finding your own way, like, what is the way that works for you to stay, stable in the eye of the storm. Yeah.
So those type of leaders, let's stay within discussion within those. Are they usually men or women? Just because for some reason I imagine men. I don't know. Might be wrong.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. Like I haven't. They're mostly men, and throughout my career, it's been mostly male leaders that I've seen. There have been a few senior female leaders that stand out to me, and that I remember them being quite strong role models. But for the most part, they are men. But I will say, from a male perspective, they are men who are very, very grounded in their emotional intelligence, in their other skills, not necessarily just the highly masculine kind of action-driven skill set and side of things, but they're also very intuitive, very empathetic, very compassionate. So those are some of the qualities I've seen in them. Yeah.
So you probably, I would assume, they've built those qualities before the crisis hit them,
100%, 100%.
So it would be great. Let's look at those qualities. So I think maybe today is a bit too late to build them for this particular crisis, but I'm sure there'll be another one.
It's never too late.
It's never
It's
too
never
late.
too late to start. Yeah, yeah.
So what would, let's say, to be those 2 or 3 qualities that we need to start working on today in order to be that monk once the crisis, or wherever, that being able that stabilize yourself in the next crisis?
Yeah, I would say definitely a sense of inclusion, including everyone, that the leader that thinks of everyone around the table, not just, a particular, maybe part of the organization or their own teams, but that sense of real inclusion. And then, of course, compassion, putting your shoes in other people's shoes, because what we often find as well with leaders is, the challenges they're facing at that kind of, let's say, higher level is not maybe the same as the challenge of one of your frontline workers who has, specific, financial challenges that they need to tend to, right? So they won't be able to necessarily relate to them. So being able to take that in mind, and a sense of that, the leader goes first, I would say, being that role model in terms of they take the first step. They, don't just say the thing, but they actually do it. So visible leadership right now is so important. So for their teams to actually see them out there talking, speaking to the people, putting the plans in place, not just being in their office behind the closed doors where nobody sees them. I think that's really important because it's about building trust. It's about building trust with people. And I think for leaders as well, it's important to say, look, we don't always have all the answers. And sometimes we're figuring it out together. And I think that will help us create the new leadership of the next stage. Because I really believe we're seeing an end to a certain type of leadership.
Which one is that?
The very authoritarian, my way or the highway. We also see it in the political world. We're seeing the impact of it, of course, on the world stage. And it's also in corporate, those very authoritarian leaders, kind of that dictator style, like they're not inclusive, they don't take people's opinions, they don't, connect to their people. So I really think we will see that declining, gradually over time. I think we've already seen that people are not going to stay, happy with that. Like the people will revolt against that, I guess, at some point. And then we will see a rise of that conscious leader, the inclusive leader, the empathetic leader. Because in the past, it was like those two qualities couldn't merge for some reason. Like you had to be harsh and tough and macho in the business world. And I think we will, just because we're at a turning point in the world, right? All these crises, and it's not just one crisis. There's multiple things. Like we're not even staying on top of it, right?
Yeah.
And it will require a new kind of leadership. Yeah.
I like what you said with the leaders showing themselves and lead. I think this is, I have to say, in this country, when everything has started, we saw leaders outside, right? They were the ones showed us that it's safe.
It's so powerful. It's
Very
so powerful. It's not, and that's what I mean by stabilizing steadying the ship. Helping people understand that, look, we'll get through this together, and that's all that is needed. Sometimes is that strong message, strong visible leadership. Yeah. And
I think this is a great comparison. Now we see a lot of Western leaders, without mentioning the names, but I'm sure everyone can guess. create just not letting anyone talk, right? Not listening to anyone, not letting anyone talk or express opinion, absolutely ignorant of everything, wherever, of anyone's opinion. And then we see the leaders here that are there with people on the street, constantly reassuring people that everything is going to be fine, right?
Yeah.
That's, yes, okay, maybe some people will question certain things, but at the end of the day, we see them, they talk to us, right? They prove that it's safe, they're outside on the streets, and you feel like they're connected.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And it's interesting, there's someone mentioned to me that most of the books are written from the Western leadership perspective. Probably soon we'll see more of
I think so. And if I look at it from a culture perspective, the cultures of, let's say West Asia more so are very collective cultures, so it's so it's tribal. It comes from that place of, it's the extended village, like everyone is part of the story. Whereas maybe we've seen, and that's where maybe some of the thought leadership from the West is coming. It's more individualistic cultures. So that plays a role as well. And it's more around, okay, who rises to the top? Who's the best of the best? It's more competitive. It's more, whereas we're seeing more like, okay, maybe we can all win together.
Yeah,
and maybe we can build systems and networks and new ways of doing things that mean that everyone benefits, not just a small group of people.
Yeah. So let's talk about this, the other type of leaders. So we have the strong ones that are able to prepare themselves for this. Let's talk about those who were not prepared and panicked and got scared. And it's interesting, right, that our first episode was about oxygen mask.
Yes, yeah.
Let's say you wake up in the morning, the whole night was terrible, and you can't find your oxygen mask. What do? Someone stole it. What do you do? How do you live in that world as a leader?
As a leader, yeah. I mean, ideally, if you're able to not interact with people that day, that would probably be
a good point.
A good thing. So being aware enough of your own state to say, I'm not where I need to be today, whether mentally, emotionally, physically. I've only had an hour or two of sleep. So having, that sense of awareness to say, actually, today's not the day that I'm going to make the big decisions. What tends to happen is people override their inner compass, and they go and they meet and they have decisions, and then we see that those decisions were not the best decisions, right? So I think that first step is self-awareness. So, where am I today? Like on a scale of maybe 1 to 10, 1 to 5, how am I feeling? Did I sleep? Did I get enough water? The basics. Just like when you switch on your car, you get those lights on your car, like the oil engine is working, everything. We're the same. And I don't think we pay attention to that. And then, so if my car, like if all the lights come on my engine check, I'm not going to drive the car that day. It's not safe to drive the car. And I would use that same example to say, maybe today's not the safest day for you to be out mingling with people. Maybe you need to go inwards. Maybe you need to sleep. Maybe you need to go, I don't know.
I think this is absolutely a great example. I think this is perfect. You wake up and check first, are you there able to take the right decisions?
Yeah.
Or everything is going to be just reaction to the crisis, to the problems.
Yeah.
I think just hold on. Yeah, don't rush. Stay at home. Don't talk.
Or if you have to be out and about, maybe try and not overbook back-to-back meetings that day, right? It's simple things. Or maybe that really critical email that needs to go out, you can draft it, but don't send it today. It's simple things, but it's in the power of the pausing, and you said a key word, not reacting. And what we see with those leaders that are in panic mode is they're very reactionary. They just react instead of respond, instead of being, like very clear, here's my approach. So you can see that in their behavior. Yeah.
Is there maybe some example from, no, I don't want to jeopardize your position in your company. Is there maybe from your friends or your, people that come to you for coaching? Is there a good example you could give us where the person went and did completely the wrong decision in that panic mode?
I can think of a few people.
Please don't mention their names.
There's no names. No, I'm thinking of examples. But I do recall, and these are friends who have businesses. They've got their own companies, their own businesses, and on reflection, some of those, let's say, bad decisions that happened, they knew like they shouldn't have made that call. So whether that was making a decision maybe to shut down part of their business or to let certain people go that day, it was very reactionary. They were reacting to a lot of, outside noise. And that's the key word here, noise. So with them, I remember them saying that there was a lot of noise and they just had to just do something.
You feel like you need to do something, yeah?
Yeah, because the noise was very loud.
Yeah.
And to me, I see, when the noise is loud outside, it means I need to really get quiet inside. So to make a really like balanced and objective decision, yes, you take in inputs wherever you can, but if it's noisy and that it's like, the machine is going, that's not where you're going to make that best decision.
Yeah, I think, yes, when it's noisy, at least you need to keep quiet. Yeah. That's true. As simple as that.
It's so simple. Honestly, Nina, like I promise you, it really isn't rocket science. And we've been led to believe that this whole field of leadership as well, and leadership development and corporate and the business, like, of course, there's industries out there, right? And trainings and It's not difficult. It's really simple. It's really simple, yeah.
But it's so hard in this noise to sit down and just be quiet for a bit. Even if we sit down around the table with colleagues and just do nothing, just not talk and just be with each other, I think this is the most difficult.
It is, and I think we've been programmed as well to be constantly doing. So you have to be doing, productive. You have to be active all the time. You have to be, in these businesses, in these corporate systems we've existed in for so long, effort and production is seen as, you have to be constantly doing something. Whereas in the pause, like people's best ideas come through. Solutions to big issues, big problems, can come from that pause. Conflicts between teams or departments can be resolved with a pause. So I really genuinely see like a huge impact on the business world just by that simple thing, like, pausing, creating space in leaders' days to just reflect, just kind of plan their next step rather than just be reacting to all the noise coming at them.
Yeah. You've mentioned something about letting people go.
Yes.
My 2020 experience, it started, I think, do you remember that crisis started in March? I don't want to say the word because
we all know
who
the
knows
world
who's going to block us. Yeah, we don't say the words anymore. We just say the years.
Exactly. We remember.
And the month.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But I think there was a period where a lot of people lost jobs.
Yeah.
But I don't think it came immediately. I think it was March it started, correct me if I'm wrong, February, maybe towards the June it was getting really bad. What I've noticed this year, the minute it started, next day the people just were like, go.
Yeah,
And what is going on? And we were all celebrating how amazing everything is, how we all become millionaires, billionaires, right? And then overnight, okay, I'm exaggerating, it's just, okay, bye.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Again, I mean, I think each company, has their own rationale for things, but I'm seeing more reactionary responses.
Probably.
Yeah. And I would say if we were to take a more human-centered approach to things, we would look at, what alternative ways could we work out to maybe preserve, some people's livelihoods and their work, and at the same time, manage whatever other contingencies and changes that are happening, whether that's, switching to part-time work temporarily. Yeah. There are ways, there are ways when people talk through them. But usually what tends to happen in these scenarios is a decision gets made behind a closed door. Nobody really knows the reasoning behind it. And it's just a mass, mass exit and decision. And I say, and I've said this before when we spoke as well, it's not that these things will never happen in business. They will, because that's the nature of business. It's how they're handled. So even when organizations have to have these difficult separations and exits, and you notice, the core of a company and their values in how they handle that, so do they do it with kindness, with compassion, with empathy, or is it a very harsh sort of, okay, bye, see ya, So yeah.
How does that influence the culture? Before February, you've been building the culture, trying to headhunt the talent. And after, I don't know, I would say, okay, give it a month. From April, you're just completely a new company.
Yeah.
Getting rid of everyone that you were trying to headhunt before. How does that? It must be really bad.
I
have
think
bad impact.
of course, and I think the companies that will bounce back very well are the ones that, like I said, it's in how they handle those decisions
Right.
and also how they build trust with people, afterwards. So, whether it's helping people with job placements, with recruitment, support, with, help with their CVs, help with their, again, it's that extending those additional value services to people during these times of challenges and changes. Whereas, companies that kind of treated people as a number and nobody heard from them, of course the trust is lost, So let's say when times pick up and that particular company is hiring again, as people, you're going to remember, like, I was maybe mistreated versus, here I was, yes, it was difficult, but there was trust. They looked after me. They extended, some support. So that makes a huge difference.
And having that continuous relationship with your top people, at least,
Yes,
right? Those you want to stay forever together, but you cannot because of financial restraint.
Yeah.
Super important, especially in this part of the world where we all know each other.
I think, I mean, you said a key word exactly, that looking after those key people, right? And that trust. Because what I see often as well during times of, challenges and crisis, two modes. Either people start to communicate more, which is great. So you need to keep those open communications, or they become very silent and withdraw. And that's a challenge as well, because then when we don't have information, as humans, we're very good at creating stories. So we tend to, manufacture stories,
really
and we're very creative. Yes.
So that's a great thing. So the third, I would say, insight for us as leaders is during the crisis, don't rush, try and keep next to your people.
Yes.
Take care of them. Even financially, I understand not everyone can afford it, but emotionally, in a supportive way, be with them and try and help them.
It goes a long way, yes. Yeah.
So that phrase, we have a lot of... Let me rephrase. I open my social media and I see this, apart from crazy stuff that is super scary, I see also a lot of motivational quotes and hopes. And one of them, constant reminder how every crisis has an opportunity. Yes. Now, during 2020 year, I did find opportunity, but late in 2021. Yeah. So I do believe that crisis brought me an opportunity. Today's crisis, I can't see anything. Sometimes I see, sometimes I don't. Is that even true, this whole opportunity thing? And what do you think?
I think there always will be opportunity. For as long as humans are on this planet, I genuinely believe there will always be opportunity. The human race is just so, like, the spirit is so unbreakable in my view. Like, I genuinely believe that. Like, if we go back and we think through all the different things that have gone through the cycles of history, and, the leaps that we've made in so many fields and technology and so on. I mean, so I believe in resilience. I believe in the human spirit. There will always be opportunity. Now, the opportunity might not be so clear in the beginning, right? So, and the opportunity may come through completely changing the way we look at things. So we're now in a time where we're expecting things to go a certain way. Like, this is my life. This is how the work is. I work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. My kids go to school. It's a physical school. I think where opportunities come is where we start to see that there is a change happening in society. There is a change happening in cultures around the world. If I take education as an example, where I never used to even think about the concept of, like, homeschooling, for example. And I
still don't think about it. I want to delete that concept from my life.
So,
I love my kids.
I love mine. I love mine very, very dearly. And for me, it was like I was so fixed on this idea that, no, they had to be going to physical school. Whereas when things started to shift and change, and then they went back to online learning, and I saw that, and they actually told me that they were happy, with the flexibility. They were happy with, not having to wake up super early and so on. And I thought of it like, well, I'm sure there's going to be opportunities created out of this. There will be different streams of education. There will be, so I see, that's where I see, out of every challenge or every crisis, there will come opportunity, but they might not be so obvious to us, and the people that are out there creating opportunities, I think, are the ones that are trying to solve not just the problems of today, but the problems of tomorrow. So they're already those visionaries that are seeing ahead, and they're starting to look into that.
Do you see opportunities for yourself?
I do.
Do you want to share maybe one of them? Just where do you see?
I think, we touched on this already, like the opportunity to help people see, so through the work that I do, how to make better decisions, especially in times of crisis, especially in times of, because I think that's an area that is completely overlooked and is, we assume that we need to add more things. We need, more knowledge, more people, more information. And it's so much simpler. It's a lot simpler. So I think just through the challenges and things I've been through, and then reverse engineering my steps, I'm now able to help people with that. And I think that could potentially be an opportunity to look at.
So let's, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about making decisions in this crisis, give us a little bit of maybe a formula or an explanation. How can I make the right decisions or take the decisions during these crazy times?
I think, and we said, whenever there's too much noise, that's not the best time, right? So am I truly allowing myself space, silence? So let me take a step back. We have the best technology ever. I think we're at a time, and when I say the best technology, I'm not talking about AI.
Everyone's talking.
No, I am talking about us as human beings, and I think we've been misled to believe that we're not that powerful. We're not that.
That's a good point, especially these days.
Exactly. So if we really trace back to our ancestors, if we think back to they didn't have all the, luxuries of life, the ease of life that we have today, but they were so, their intuition was so strong. Like they could know, like if we go back to the ways our grandmothers, even healing and even, their medicine and, how they did things, like they just knew how to handle situations. They were solid in crises because they were tuned into their inner knowing. And over time, we've outsourced that because we gave that power to Google, to technology, so every time we have a question, like we don't sit with ourselves. So we don't go quiet and know that the answers will come to you. And it's not because this is Shereen saying this and, maybe I'm special. This is part of everyone's design. That's how humans that's the human operating system. We have this internal intelligence. And I give the example, like when you get quiet, shut out the noise, and you really sit with yourself and you create that consistency of, like going in within, it's like you're plugging in to the main source of power, the universal power source. So you're getting access to that intelligence, and that is available to everyone. It really is.
So that pause, is it, are you referring to meditation, or it's meditation or prayer?
That is one, exactly. It could come in whatever form that feels aligned to you. So it doesn't have to be sitting on a cushion and meditating if that's not your thing. But it could be maybe taking yourself to the beach, maybe next to the water, standing on the sand for a few minutes and just being quiet and looking out, at the ocean for 5 minutes, just quieting down. It's like you turn down the volume, and then in that space, answers will come. I'll give you one example. Let's say you're dealing with a really, challenging situation at work. You have to make a decision, right? What we tend to do is we start to overuse our, conscious mind, right? Oh my God, I need to solve this. I don't know what to do. And it's like a hamster wheel, keeps going over and over. And then let's say you get tired, you're exhausted. You're like, you know what? It's late. I'm already, I don't know. I'll figure it out. And then you go home, you're driving back, and you stop, let's say, at the supermarket to pick up something for dinner, and you're walking around, and there you are in maybe the yogurt section, and you're picking up something, and the answer comes to you.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Like, where does that come from?
Where does it come? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so
it's magical.
Here's the thing, it's not magical, it's part of our design. We have access to this subconscious mind and to this intelligence that is there, but we don't believe in it most of the time, or we assume that we want to solve it through our like conscious mind, and then end up maybe making a rash decision or a hurried decision or not the most aligned decision. Yeah.
So that's one of the parts of the decision making. Is there anything else?
I would say so. So the way I look at it, and the way I look at anything, is holistically. So it's like, yes, the quieting of the mind and the mental clarity gives you that clarity to move forward, and also it's looking at physically. Am I in the best physical space, physical shape? So whether it's your health, your well-being, if you're are we eating the right things? If we're constantly like giving ourselves like too much sugar and inflammation, and that affects the quality of our thinking, that affects the quality of. So I don't see things as disconnected. Everything is connected. It all leads to that better, more holistic approach that you can then say, look, I feel more able to make better quality decisions in my life.
But it's interesting, the minute the crisis hit here, 28th of February, was it 28th? I wish to forget that day. But 28th of May, first thing I did was I stopped exercising. So I've completely, and I know it's wrong, but I felt like I don't want another crisis in my head.
And look, I hear that for some people, that because it felt like I can't, it's already a lot.
I'm tired.
So my body, exactly. And in that, I would say even gentle ways of moving the body.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be like weights and, but a walk, because it shifts energy. So what tends to happen is then all of that noise in the head finds a way to get discharged. Just, so then we're at least flowing better, so we're not staying stuck. Whereas, let's say we're in that loop, and I'm thinking and I'm overthinking and I'm worrying, and oh my God, and I open the news again, and oh, what's going to happen? But I'm stagnant. I'm not moving. You're just piling more and more. It's like you're putting, it starts, and then of course it starts to weigh you down. Whereas even if it's just small 10-minute walks, or like a bit of stretching or movement, or these are ways to just like help that energy flow, right? It doesn't stop what's going outside. It doesn't change what's happening on the outside, right? But it changes how you're reacting to it.
To that outside,
yeah.
But I have to share something. This is really crazy. I was always scared of flying so much that I had to fly with cognac in my bag.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or if I can't go to, I don't know, Saudi Arabia with cognac and with prayers and everything. But I was just so scared from, I think, 15 years old. And I did air phobia and so on courses. But you know what happened since then? I got so scared 28th of February that fear overtook the fear of flying now. So my opportunity is, and then my job now, my work requires me to travel so much. And it's just happened. This is the opportunity. It just became so irrelevant, that fear, compared to this fear, that slowly I think it's going to vanish.
There you go. There you go. No,
unbelievable.
And I genuinely believe, when situations happen in life, they happen to push us into, so now the opportunities that are opening up to you through travel and through the other, you wouldn't have been, they wouldn't have been part of your like awareness before.
Yeah. So it's just like unbelievable. But I hope it's going to continue, like not the crisis, this internal peace.
I think so. I think so. I have faith in you, Nina. I have faith in you.
I need it with the travel plans I have. I want to talk a little bit about AI, because I think that, apart from this political and craziness, theater and everything that we have to go through, there is, and hopefully it's going to finish soon, at least in certain parts of the world, and let's hope in our part. AI is another threat. right? Opportunity for some, threat for some other people. That's not gonna finish. That's gonna be with us now, right? So that's our new life.
I,
How do you take it? I mean, you train a lot of people on AI now,
I
right?
do. So the scope of my work has also adapted to suddenly now I need to dive into this world of AI. So I had, I don't want to say a love-hate relationship with it, but initially I was against it. I was like, no, because I'm all about humanity.
Yeah, you are. Yes,
I know.
yes. We're bringing humanity back to work for a
and
workplace.
I am, and I was really concerned with, is this going to take away the human touch? Is this going to take away the human? And it has that potential. Like, I'm not going to lie and say it won't. I think misused, it has that potential to become very cold and clinical and just very transactional and losing the soul of what makes humans human. But also there's the opportunity where there are a lot of aspects of what we do as humans, even a lot of, let's say, I'll take, aspects of the admin, back office related things. That can be streamlined. There's a lot of automation. There's a lot of efficiency that can happen through AI. So when that happens, I find, okay, wow, then a lot of the time I spent on, let's say, all of these, let's say, Excel sheets, analysis, and all of that, I can now spend that time actually sitting with people, coaching them, doing the things that actually, create those connections. So I see the opportunity there with it. Now, like you said, it's not going away anytime soon. I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon. And this is where the opportunity then comes in terms of this is a time that we all need to educate ourselves, like learn a new language, because the world is changing. And, I don't know what it's going to look like in a few years' time when, let's say, my kids graduate from school. I genuinely have no idea, what is the world that they're going to walk into? What are the jobs that they're going to? I think even, redefining certain jobs. Certain jobs are going to be completely redefined because it won't be, it won't be specifically about that skill set of, especially, around analytics and knowledge. And whereas it's going to be more, how are you orchestrating? How are you bringing different intelligences together and creating, out of it? Interesting times.
So when you're just, let's say you're, I would assume 50 plus, you had a great career, right? And very successful. And now you're still young.
Yeah.
You're still not retiring.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have to deal with all this AI thing. A lot of people, I would assume, and from people I know, have that block. They just start ignoring it.
Yeah.
How do I feel if I found myself? I'm not 50. I'm 25. but
yeah.
If I found myself in this kind of block, what do I do?
So look, when I look at it, so I'm not too far from 50. I'll say it.
Me too.
I didn't
just for the purpose.
I know, but you know what? I used to be so scared of it before, whereas now. I, especially our generation, I really see that as a superpower because if I look at my generation, like I witnessed, all of the pre-steps before this point in history where AI is now a thing. Like with my kids, if I look at the iPads, iPhones, now AI, this is normal. Like it's part of their everyday life. Whereas we saw when the first, Walkman or the iPod or, cassettes, we used to sit and record our favorite songs, the dial-up internet, all of that. So I think the skill set we grew over time, the critical thinking, the, discerning information, the actually going through tough challenges. I think we went through so many tough hardships, especially at work. Those you can't replicate. So for the people that are in, let's say, a similar age group, I would say, what AI will do is it will amplify all of our previous experience because now we have a way to bring that out to the world. Whereas, and the younger generation needs that mentorship. They need that guidance. They need that expertise. And that's not going to go away. So I really think that we're the bridge. We're the bridge between kind of that old and the new.
Yeah. It's actually right. You're absolutely right. We can discern between the, what's true, what's not true,
100%.
which is super important with AI. All you need is a bit of a motivation just to go a little bit further and start. But once you're hooked on that AI, and I'm not talking about writing stupid generic posts through ChatGPT.
No. Yeah.
But going deeper, really, you're hooked on that. You want to learn more and more and more.
It's and I think with anything, everything is, it depends how you use it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen examples where younger colleagues in their, let's say, 20s and early 30s would just, and I can see through it, like, this is completely copy paste ChatGPT. Where is your thought process in this? And that's our role. Like, that's our role as guardians of the old, let's say, to say, okay, where is your real thinking coming in? Have you tested this? Have you experienced that? The lived experience.
Yeah.
That's where we bring that to the table.
Yeah, you're right. So where those, it will just help us to amplify everything. This is a really good perspective on the...
I believe so. And on the flip side, it can also make people appear like, it doesn't make you smarter if you misuse it. It actually makes you more dumb. So I've seen that where...
That's such a great point.
Yeah, so people assume it's going to make me smarter. And it actually, because I've seen so many examples where I'm like, it's actually not helping you. No.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're right. And I had recently some examples like that right in my inbox. So, what do you think you wish one thing all the leaders stop doing today? If you could just tell, that's it, one thing all of you just stop, what would that be?
Being selfish.
Oh, that's so good. That's true. Really start caring about people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just the world doesn't just revolve around you and your ego. Yes.
What's in your life in the last 3 months? What has really changed?
A lot. A lot has really changed. Even though on the outside, not much has changed.
Yeah.
But internally, a lot. Faith. Just faith in myself. Faith in... I know humanity is at a turning point, but I do believe in humanity.
You do?
I do.
I started being disappointed.
There are disappointing people, for sure.
You're right.
There are some disappointing people, but I've seen enough examples of when we bring groups of people together. Like, there's some individuals, yes, I agree with you. They are extremely disappointing. But the power of the people. So that fuels me. I know it's a crazy time, but I truly believe and I'm into astrology. So the planets are also doing some stuff that tells me that there's going to be shifts to upgrade humanity. So I have faith in that.
So I'm not into astrology, but with the crisis, we all want to be everything in astrology. So is there a positive sign there?
I believe so. I'm not doing predictions. This is not about predictions, but I know there's because it's cycles, and all let's say all empires go through rise and fall and cycles, and so we're witnessing a lot of some of that energy happening right now.
So there is light at the end of the tunnel?
I believe. I will continue to believe so. Yes. I'm the eternal optimist. Yeah.
Internal optimist, very young internal optimist. If you were to go back to 30, when you were 30-year-old, what advice would you give yourself to prepare yourself for this uncertainty, these crazy times when the world is a theater and crazy? That
I would tell my 30-year-old self that you are so much stronger than you know and that you think, and you have the answers within you. You will know what to do. When the time comes and you need to do something or take decisions, you will know what to do.
Don't be scared, yeah?
Because my 30-year-old self was very scared of, at the time, different things and different reasons, scared to the point of my own mind, just overthinking constantly. So, I would just tell her it's all going to be okay.
Beautiful. I want to finish this episode with the discussion that we had recently about the post that I put on the social media that I've just, where you replied that it's exactly that. The idea was, I think in April, I was so disappointed in humanity. I always believed in people, but April really took away my belief. And I was so worried that what are we going through? This is crazy. It's never been like this before. And then, coincidentally, I went to see two theatrical play. One was about the World War II, and the second was about the communist time, the whole communist time. And then it was just a eureka moment for me that it's all the same thing. It just has a different name.
It is, actually.
And it made me feel good. Good, not that other people always suffered in history, but it made me feel calm that it's nothing special. It's just it's been always there.
I think, it's been always there. What's different this time around is more people are noticing that it's like, hang on, wait, we've been going through these cycles and loops for centuries.
Yeah.
Like, and that's for me the tipping point. That's where my faith in humanity is coming in, because I think that we will reach a tipping point where people will just say enough is enough. Let's build based on love and harmony and peace and benefit for all and communities and shared resources and all of those qualities. Yeah.
You're right. Before, if you want to know what was behind the scenes in World War and the communists, you needed to read a book that were written, decades after that. Now it's the immediate,
instant,
right? It's instant information that you get, and that's why I think it horrifies us all.
And we weren't designed. Our nervous system was not designed to, see and read and hear all of that information all at once. So,
I'd like to put some kind of a conclusion, a summary to this. So my question was today, is there an opportunity in crisis, really, if it's true or no? And I think you've answered perfectly. Of course there is. We just need to go back to basic, to ourselves, right? To our human beings. Chill.
100%.
Stop. Listen. There's nothing really we need to do from outside. It's all within us that could help us.
We are way more powerful than we think.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you.
Let's do this.
Yay.
Oh, you made my day. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think it was super. I really needed this today. So, was it good?